Alright, this is another clean attempt to put out a very clear video, clear and concise and explicit, so that you can get the message very explicitly, because it's very difficult to convey the message exactly the way you want it by trying to be, well, I would say nice about it, but trying to fit into some kind of box of decency. If you try to fit into the box of decency and try to have this message out there, you'd obviously miss the mark, because this is something very explicit and personal, and well, we are talking about the reproductive system. So this is about penis enlargement. You want to have a bigger dick, and you've been trying, or you've seen a whole bunch of different methods of trying to grow, but you have a bit of a problem growing actually. The reason why you're having trouble growing is for a number of reasons. Based on the research that I've done, this is what I've come up with. Number one is that after puberty, when you became an adult and stopped being a teenager, there was a chemical change within your body, the change that stopped you from growing any further. This was some kind of hormonal change. There is a thing that happened to you chemically that stopped the growing from continuing. So there are these methods that tell you that they can help you grow, but some of them are tested against those who are not actually there yet. They have not reached that end point, the point where the growth has been told to stop continuing. So if you're using the methods which are supposed to work for someone who's still within that bracket of growth, that's why you're not growing. Is it possible to get that bracket back, and yet you are a grown-up, you're in your 30s or maybe older? Yes, there are methods of doing that. They are called biochemical. Are these methods safe? Based on my research, the supplements are a bit of a risk. They have the potential to give you larger prostate, and that's obviously not good. Your prostate is supposed to be normal, not large. So what can you do? There are other methods which are safer. If you visit some of the botanists, the people who are actually doing the research with the plants, they should be able to concoct a solution for you. I did get a solution. It included, for some reason, it included beer. It was supposed to be escorted down with beer. So that was the first time I was having some beer. Had me some beer. I was chugging that down every morning, but it didn't really take that long. It took about 12 days, I would say. So it's not 8, about 18. So I had a 6-pack. I was using half of a can with every dose. So I had a 6-pack which I completed, and I bought a second 6-pack which I used 3 cans. Was it 3 out of 6? Was it a 6-pack or a 12-pack? Anyway, let's go with a 6-pack. 6 plus 3, that is 9 times 2, 18. So it took me about 18 days to complete the dosage, and I was taking it with I was chugging it down with beer every morning. So it was 1 time a day, every morning, with a glass of beer. I had this roommate who was always laughing at me. He had so much fun during that period that I kind of got a bit discouraged, because this solution was supposed to provide the results within 2 weeks, and 2 weeks are within that 18 days, as you may know. But within that 2 weeks, I didn't see any results, so I stopped bothering with trying to check or trying to do anything to verify. So I just completed the dose and then gave it up later on. There was also something else that I was supposed to be doing in conjunction with this one. It was to do the physical. There is the physical exercises that you can do to try and grow, but those exercises had not worked for me prior. I had done the exercises and actually had figured out the routine for the exercises, but they were not really working out for me. At least I made another video explaining that whole situation. I wasn't really trying to stick to the program for a long enough period, and I had a few challenges to go with that. So the point is that the biochemical solution together with the exercises did actually yield the best results that I could have hoped for. Actually, not that. They actually exceeded my expectation. My expectation was that I would get a size increase, but what I got was a size increase. I was able to correct some of that curvature. I was able to grow in the direction that I wanted. I wanted more girth over length, and that's what I was able to achieve. I also wanted to be front heavy, and I was able to get that too. Front heavy means that more girth up front, so because that's where the magic is. Anyway, the point is that I was able to achieve all those things, including and not limited to fixing a little bit of a problem that I had. I had this thing where I kind of had a problem with relieving myself, peeing. I couldn't just do a normal job of, well, just checking it out and hosing down. That used to fail sometimes. I would go to pee and it would take maybe 30 seconds sometimes, just trying to coax myself to get into, well, relieving myself. And that was always a kind of a bummer. That was resolved. Also, I had this condition where if I was aroused by someone for a certain duration of time, then the balls would start to hurt. I think it's called blue balls. I don't know if blue balls is an actual medical thing, but that's what it was. I was getting blue balls, and I had inquired around, and I was told that that is a whole bunch of baloney. It's all in my head and such. So blue balls is not supposed to be a real thing. It's just supposed to be some kind of joke that people make for whatever reason. But for me, it was legit. So this was actually a huge problem that I didn't know had a solution, and it was solved. So what I'm trying to say is that if you try the physical method without the biochemical for growth, I'm not sure you'd be able to solve such a problem if you have it. I'm actually interested to find out if it's actually possible to solve for that without the biochemical, just by using trying to grow with the physical exercises. Because the physical exercises, I really don't know. Anyway, I don't know enough about that subject in that regard. What I do know is my experience. And my experience kind of lasted quite a bit of time. It took me, I would say 6 years, but essentially it was 5 years of waiting for the solution to come. The researcher was doing a little bit of research. I think he was using other subjects to research the solution. And when he felt that the solution was actually good and ready, he provided it to me. That was about a year ago, a year and some change now. So I didn't really know that I had been cured until a little while later, when I just bumped into, well, a different situation. I had not had the situation of the peeing because it was no longer in my conscious mind. Essentially what was happening was that I had stopped taking in a lot of water, or enough water, so I was keeping the water intake quite low so that I don't fill up my bladder. I could go maybe a full day without, well, relieving myself, because I had really cut down on the water intake that I was taking because of that. So I didn't really have a problem there to notice. That's what happened. With the blue balls, same situation. I would just avoid the situations of getting aroused. So if you're not getting aroused, you don't actually get to find out that, well, you no longer suffer from blue balls. So that's what happened for about a year. But that's okay. That's no loss there. What I gained in return is well worth the wait. And I've always been interested as well to try and see if I can find others in need of such a solution, because I know a guy and I could provide that solution. That's not actually the biggest thing about this researcher. The big deal with him is that he can actually solve those reproductive problems, including those ailments that you may be suffering from. All of them, no exceptions. Including those ailments, he'd be able to be rid of them. So that's his superpower, I would say. I'm also interested in others who can actually do similar things. Being able to find a real scientist is very difficult. They are very few and far between. So if there could be a way for me to just find them, if I find them, I'd find a way of starting a thing where they would flourish. Because if they're all standing on their own, it's very difficult to grow. But if you can pull together, then it should be a sure thing. That's part of the mission. Part of it also is to just try and spread the what's the right word for it? The benefits. Now, anyway, essentially the windfall that I've gotten, if I'm able to receive this level of, well, salvation, I should be able to spread it to others. This is a good cause to stand behind, and I would think that it's also a cause that a lot of people wouldn't bother with it. If you're actually a patient and you get cured by the researcher, most people wouldn't actually want to put the word out there that they were this afflicted and such. They would just be happy that they've had their solution and move on with their lives. But I feel like this is worthy of spreading around. It's also the best way that I could give back to the researcher, because the researcher did a lot of work to get here. And it's a shame to see all this work go to waste. It could change lives. So you don't just want to lock that down there or put it in a closet and such. So this is worth spreading around. Someone did say that just because you have something good or you have a solution, it doesn't mean that people would come to it once you start talking about it. You'd actually be shouting from the rooftops to try and get people to listen to you. But all you'll get is silence and skepticism and doubts and people trying to pull you down or whatever. It's very difficult to actually have a solution or a good thing going and have people just jump on it. So what you mostly face is that kind of resistance. So that could also be a factor in not having others do this kind of thing. But if you actually build for that kind of, well, endurance, it would make sense for you to be the one to try and push this. God damn it, these bugs. All right, that's about it. I think we'll close it there and actually go have a walk. Let's see if we can see some land out there. Hopefully. This bird has been standing here the whole time. He did not go away. He was just standing there on a twig. Anyway, that's okay. I think we're done. Hopefully you've been in frame all this time. It would be a shame to have to scrub all of that.